folks. We are back with Pokemon Emerald 80% Glitchless Run, brought to you by AmoebaUK himself. Look at this man, looking fresh with that haircut. Take it away, Amoeba.
Hello. So yeah, this is going to be Pokemon Emerald 80% Glitchless. And just before we start, an important order of business. And now we're ready. Are you good with the timer? I'm going to presume yes. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Emerald Glitchless. The reason we're doing Glitchless is because the one useful glitch for a speedrun is trash. We hate it. It's like 1 in 32 to actually work. In Glitchless you get to see more of the game, we get to do more execution, more fun. We do. Yeah, text border 16 is the patrician choice. It's clearly the best one. It might look slower to pick the girl here, it's actually going to be faster for the entire run. Male rival talks less, and we're going to get a much nicer Rival 2 fight. We're actually going to lose a little bit of time to Rival 3, in a way, but the Rival 2 fight offsets it by a long way. Yeah, this is... If anybody that... Oh, go on.
Sorry, just a quick question. When you say you're saving time, is it because of the gender specifically?
Yeah, so your male rival will actually talk less. So if text takes a frame to display per character, so if your NPCs are talking less, you're saving time every time that they talk to you. It's the same reason that we name ourselves A. The longer name will cause time loss. Now, there is a bid war. If you fancy spending your hard-earned dollars, or British pounds, or any other acceptable currency in the world, you can bid to name the Rayquaza that we will be catching in this run towards the end of the run, about 2 hours in.
Bidoof is still sitting in the lead by quite a stretch. $49, as opposed to Mort, who's down there at $1, but you guys can change that, you have that power.
I think Bidoof was... I did a run for BSG. Was it BSG or was it... It might have been NASA, actually, or something like that. And Bidoof nearly won on that one, and then he got sniped right at the end. So I almost had a Bidoof Rayquaza at one point. Except in Dogecoin. So, yeah, we're going to spend a lot of this run with Mudkip. In fact, everything except for one Pokemon, and the Rayquaza section is going to be bopped by Mudkip. Which means we have to manip a good one. Now this is arguably the most nerve-wracking section for an entire marathon run because this manip is frame perfect, and we have to hit it, there's no backup. I do have as many tries as I want, obviously if I don't want you guys to be very bored. Probably important to hit it as soon as we can.
And what exactly are you aiming to do with it?
Oh, you'll see, just give me una memento.
I'm excited.
That might be it. Timing felt good. Let's see, so we want 21 HP. Nope, that's not it. So we have to try again. So the entire route is built around this Mudkip, so we need to get the specific one. Unfortunately, it's out of the question to try and run with anything else. Closing your eyes does help, and I won't have anybody else say anything different. It helps me at least.
I believe.
We got 21 HP, but we got the careful, that's unfortunate. So that's one frame off. One frame too soon. You can tell because I got a growl from the Zigzagoon. If I've got the right one, I'll get tackle. We have the right HP again. Okay, that's it. Third try is not too bad. So, this Mudkip has ridiculously good stats for how little time we actually have to wait for it. We wait... Obviously, if I hit it first try, which I didn't, we would be waiting maybe 5 seconds for that one to roll around. And it just has everything that we want. Its nature is lonely, no, it's naughty, which is plus attack. Alright, and I don't know if, I think I set it up so you guys can hear the beeps, and you may be wondering what they are. I will get to them, I promise. Just need to read a bit of extended manip and then I'll explain what it all does, but I promise there's payoff for this. So, all of the timing, all of the little beeps are to help me time inputs. So, what I actually want to time there is pressing continue, selecting the mudkip, the first... Ooh, I might get an encounter here. Oh, we got lucky, neat. That's what I get for talking when I'm trying to walk. So yeah, selecting the mudkip, timing the first text box of the fight, the last text box of the fight, and the last text box of Birch's conversation, and all of that. So the timing on mudkip gives me the very specific stats on the mudkip. Everything else was to manip no encounters to this fight. I mean, walking and talking, dude, I've got like 2 brain cells, one of them's speedrunning and the other's talking, I've got nothing else. Like, every once in a while one of them's going to frazzle out and I'm going to make a mistake. That's an awful miss. But yeah, so 4 of the inputs that we actually timed were just to get here encounterless, which is just a nice time save. On average, you're going to get 1 to 2 encounters on the way to this rival. So it wouldn't have been the end of the world had I missed it, but it's neat to hit, because you can see that I'm actually not talking out my butt and just making stuff up. The timing for all that was necessary. Yeah, this mudkip is naughty natured, which is plus attack minus special defense, which is the best nature. Plus attack, you might think plus special attack because it's a water type, but plus attack is actually far more important because a lot of the things that we really want dead quickly, we are hitting with physical moves. And we are in Generation 3, which is pre-physical special split. So all of our ground type moves are physical, all of our water type moves are special. We'll also use normal type moves, which are all physical as well. No quiet debate. It's actually really different. I don't ever really get that anymore. I've got the continue timing down so that I don't ever hit the quiet debate. Yeah, so this naughty mudkip has excellent attack, plus nature, and I think the IV is 23? Question mark? Somewhere around there anyway, out of 31. And then everything else is really good as well. I think the special attack is like 30, which isn't as key. We won't save a lot of time with really high special attack, but there's a barrier, or there's like a minimum requirement where you'll save a lot of time on Tantalizer if you hit that, and I think it's around the 27 neutral value. Anything more than that's not much of a bonus. We'll take what we can get. I'm actually, this is, oh my god, look at these encounters. This is going to look like the biggest pansy strat ever. This is going to look like I'm an absolute coward, but I'm going to save before this Calvin fight because I have 7 HP. And we 3-hit this pooch and it does 3 damage most of the time. However, it can roll 4 damage, 1 in 16 times, it can crit. So I'm quite likely to survive here. I have no idea how to recover if I did die and didn't save. I'd just be on like damage loss mode. Just please try and recover as much money and items. But yeah, most of the time I'm going to survive this. Most of the time we 3-hit the pooch, although it is possible to low roll twice and 4-hit. You can also miss tackle because it's 95% accurate. There's a lot of trolling that can happen in these first few fights. So that's generally not a safety save point, but you just know that if you don't do it, you'll get bopped. If we do see a level 4 Lotad here, I am going to bop it for the experience. It's only the level 4 that's actually any use, and it's only Lotad, because it just gives you enough experience to level up before the next pooch fight, which makes it much easier. Unfortunately, we got nothing. You get a lot of encounters there. Alright, so we are sick of encounters, so we're going to buy some repels here. And also a whack load of potions because this early game is punishing. We're also going to visit the Pokemon Center. Ah, no, I shouldn't have done that. Let's leave the Pokemon Center. I've changed my mind. That's totally not bait. That totally will not come back around later in the run. And then we visit Norman, who's going to help us teach Wally to capture routes. Fun fact, this routes can die. So this is technically a random encounter, although they force it to be a level 5 routes, and they force the... I think routes is always have growl at this level, but anyway, it's always got growl. And they force the catch rate to be 100, but otherwise everything is random. So it is possible, although the odds are in the 1 in 200,000 to 1 in 300,000 range, it is possible to generate a Zigzagoon with good enough attack and a routes with bad enough defense that it dies. And if that happens, the fight just ends and then Wally talks as if he actually caught the routes in the first place. So if it happens, it saves oodles of time. That's not going to kill. Oh, they also crit lock it. Zigzagoon cannot crit. But it can still miss tackle, which is interesting. Yeah, that wasn't even remotely close. The second roll was actually pretty good, considering you got growled, but that first one was terrible. The worst first roll you've seen. It's pretty down there, yeah. But yeah, if it dies, we skip all of this Pokeball throwing, which is quite nice. I haven't really got anything else to say. This is not a very interesting part of the run, I won't lie. I can't even really do anything.
I've actually just got a question for you.
Oh, go
Obviously,
ahead.
this is all very technical in terms of numbers and stats and whatnot. But like, how did you guys find all of this out?
It's relatively easy to figure out the amount of damage you can, like a Pokemon can do with set stats. So there's a lot of like resources online for the competitive scene. Like Smogon has a really, really good damage calculator, and provided, like, in combination of that and like other websites which will tell you what IVs you've got based on the stats of the Pokemon you've caught or whatever, we can figure out like an upper and a lower bound for Ziggy's possible stats and Routes' possible stats, and then you just have to calculate the combinations of stats that will get you the kill. Okay, I pressed down there. I did a very long scroll to that menu, but that's because I'm not normally there. I'm normally on Pokédex when I pause there, not save. Yeah, Mitsune, who is a member of the community, has a really good website that allows you to calculate damage in Gen 3 as well. That's like tailored towards speedrunners, being a speedrunner themselves. But yes, this save is completely intentional, completely required, because this fight sucks. This is the reset point of a lot of Emerald fights. This guy has a Pooch, it's level 9, so it outlevels you by at least 2 levels, sometimes 1. At least 1 level, most times 2, all the way around. And it has, well, we have nothing useful. Tackle will 5 it. And it has Sand Attack, which it loves to use. Oh, Howl, that's okay. Its other moves are Howl and Tackle, which it tends to take a while to kill you with. It also 5 hits you if it doesn't boost at all. So at the moment it's still going to take 3 hits, but then you start missing and the turns start racking up. Here we go! So he now does... He still 3-shots me. 1 more Howl and he'll 2-shot. But I'm 2 Sand Attacks deep, and this is 60% to hit? Wow, okay, that was good. We will take those. 1 miss and no damage is actually a very good fight. That Pooch just sucks. It's the worst part of this run. So, Mudkip will get Water Gun at level 10. At the moment we're level 8 and a bit. And we're about to enter a gym full of rock types, which is somewhat convenient. So we are going to fight a lot of these Geodudes that are technically optional trainers, but because we just need Water Gun, and in general we need a few extra levels at the start of this run. And Geodudes just get bopped by water gun, you one-shot all of them. Except the first one, which you don't even have water gun for. So we're actually going to fight every single trainer in this gym. But that does mean that we have to fight this one with Mud Slap, and Mud Slap 6 hits. So this is a bit of a long, slow fight, and the Geodude control of it. At full health, I just need 1 miss and no crits. Just. Wow, Thunder. First one's acceptable, but I don't like the sound of that second one. That first turn miss is very nice. It's only 25% to miss that. Okay, another good miss. I'm safe from getting bopped by the crit, hopefully.
Is there a cap to how low a Pokemon's accuracy can get? So if you keep spamming Mud Slap, it keeps dropping.
Yes, 6. So any stat is capped at 6, plus or minus. So you can go to -6, and that is 3. That's if it's a 100% accurate move, they're 1 in 3 to hit it. That's the worst it can get. But obviously, if the accuracy is lower, then it's worse than that.
Right. That sounds miserable if you're on the receiving end.
You can. I've had fights against that Aquapooch before where I've been at -6, and it's just awful. Now we swap Water Gun to the front because Tackle sucks and Water Gun does not. So we're going to use a lot of that. What's my health going to be like here? I have 26. Ugh. There's a lot of like weird HP management in the Roxanne fight. Like depending on the HP you're going in at, you can do some neat things. 26 is a garbage HP though. It's really, really bad. So I'm actually just going to potion. I have to save before Flannery anyway, just to be safe, so I'm going to potion as well. So, Roxanne, oddly enough for it being a rock-type gym, Roxanne kind of sucks. She has... One sec, let me just do the menu. I always start talking and then have to menu, and I'm too small-brained to be able to do it properly. She has 2 Geodudes, which both die, just a Water Gun, but then there's a Nose Pass, and it's not ground-type, it's pure rock. And unfortunately very bulky. The only way to kill it quickly is to get Water Gun into Water Gun crit, which is known as the magic crit. You get the crit on turn 2. Otherwise, we're going to want to try and manipulate Torrent when it's sat at about half health or just a bit lower. Unfortunately, it's holding an Oranberry, which will activate automatically as soon as it's below half health. And Roxanne has access to 2 potions, which she will use, again, pretty much whenever Nosepass is below half health. And we can't do regularly more than half damage to this Nosepass. So, unless we get lucky, we typically have to sit through a lot of healing items here. It will also Rock Tomb turn 1 because we outspeed it, and Rock Tomb does a lot of damage. That miss is nice. That keeps me fairly safe. Oh, and that's the semi-magic crit. Turn 3, we'll take it. We've just skipped 2 potions. Very, very nice. So that skips a very long and boring fight. We just sit there and mash Water Gun until it dies. Very, very clean. And then we are on to the most difficult RNG minip of the run. Well, no, the most complex RNG. I guess Mudkip's more difficult, because this one is not frame perfect. But for this route, we want an Abra, which is going to allow us to teleport around a lot of places. It's going to allow us to skip some trainers and just save a lot of travelling in the early game. And we also want a fly slave, or flying, in the late game. And we don't really want to minute both of them and do a full save and reset for each, so we're going to try and do both of them in one. So I'm probably not going to say very much here because I really need to concentrate and listen to the game. No, definitely fly slave, not companion. It's a thing in the PSR community in general that people have stopped using slave and they've started using friend. Not your friend, you barely use it for any fights. Congratulations.
People call them mules as well.
Congratulations to whoever predicted Tricky into R5D1. Okay, so that is about as perfect as that can go. That's the earliest possible bird and the quickest Abra. So there's 2 possible Abras, and the movement that we do depends on whether the trainer that we ran past a minute ago spins or not. And then there's 8 different Talos. All along the same path. These are both spinners. Oh, we haven't explained spinners yet. That's probably a thing to do. Anyway, there's 8 different Talos, of which I probably shouldn't hit 3 of them, but the other 5 are fair game. And that one that I got was the nicest one, the earliest possible one to find. I disagree with that, Damon. Now is not the time, but I will explain to you later why I don't do that. But yeah, spinners. Okay, smile. So in this game, and in basically every Pokemon game since Gen 2, there are trainers that will stand on the spot and spin around. And if you walk in front of them, you get caught and you have to do a fight. We're going to skip every spinner in this run. Hopefully. If I'm good. Asterix. And that's because of a fairly unique mechanic, I guess, of Gen 3 games, where we can lock the spinners from spinning for a set amount of time. So if we go into... Well, actually, we don't lock them from spinning, we just reset their spin RNG call. If you go into a bag and then come back out, it resets their RNG that tells them when to spin, or whenever they decide to spin, or what direction, or anything like that. And every spinner in this game will not spin for the first 32 frames it's loaded. And then after that, the periods that they can spin in and the frame cycles they can spin in are dependent on the type of spinner they are, and also randomly chosen. So while that sounds fairly complicated, the basic premise of it is that we can, by knowing what type of spinner each spinner is, and knowing how long it takes to run, walk, or bike per tile, we can guarantee passes on a lot of spinners. So if you watch here, so what I did for that spinner is I ran to 2 tiles away, which forces her to look down. So if you run near a spinner, they will always look at you if they can. In that case, that spinner can only look up or down. So by running in line with her, she looks down, and then so I ran 2 tiles away from her and walked 2 tiles. Walking takes 16 frames a tile, so by walking 2 tiles, she was allowed to spin for 32 frames. The first point that she can spin is 32 frames, so by pausing immediately after those 2 tiles that I walked, I can see whether she span or not. And if she does spin, I have to reset it up again. If she doesn't spin, then I know that she's also locked from spinning again for another 32 frames, which gives me 16 frames to walk past her, minus however long it takes me to do the pause in the first place, and well, that's about it, really. I have to react and pause properly. If I take more than 16 frames to pause, then it's not a safe pass. And then there's going to be... How many spinners are in this run? 20 something? It's probably in the 20s. There's going to be about that many spinners in the run, and we're going to pass every one of them in some form or another, using either movement techniques, pausing, or going into the bag to get past them. Now, if you remember when I went into Petalburg about 15 minutes ago, I said I'd go and visit the centre, and then I just left. Oh, nice. Just got to check that I've got the right Abra. Good job. The reason for that is so that I can use this Abra immediately and not have to travel back. Because we're kind of low on items at the moment. And we also need to go to Mr. Briney's house, so this is very convenient.
So does teleport just send you back to the last Pokemon Center you were at?
Yes.
Or that you used? Gotcha.
You don't even have to use it, you just have to. That's why when I came into Petalburg originally, I just walked in and walked out again.
Right, okay.
So we're going to set 3 different teleport points. That's the only time we'll use that Petalburg one. And then when we get to Moorville later, we'll actually use the centre at that point, but we will obviously set the teleport point by entering. And then finally we'll use that Moorville one. I think we teleport there 4 times in the end. That's how much use we get from teleport. And then we'll use a Fortree one once as well. So we're off to Dewford at the moment. Mr. Devon wants us to go and deliver a letter to his son, even though he literally invented the telephone. And then we need to deliver some parts to someone in Slateport. Most people think you have to beat Brawly here, and you just don't. In any of the Gen 3 games, you do not have to beat Brawly. So Ruby and, Sapphire, but Ruby as well I guess, will beat Brawly early because the experience is useful and they use... yes, even Fire Red Leaf Green. The experience is useful and they don't want to come back to Dewford later. We are going to come back to Dewford later, we already have that planned in. And the extra experience has no use. And early Brawly in Emerald absolutely sucks. It's just awful, just the worst. And later on we're going to take Briney's boat back when we need to beat Norman. So we effectively have to step foot on Dewford anyway. So we just take a small detour there to bop both of his all 3 of his Pokemon. Because at that point we're horrifically over-leveled and we just destroy him. Except sometimes we don't. It's very, very difficult to die to Brawly, okay? I promise.
Really quick, Amoeba, how much more time would you say we have for the nickname Rayquaza?
About an hour 30 at the moment.
About an hour 30?
Oh yes, we don't get him until right before the last gym leader.
Gotcha, okay. I mean, I'll keep pushing it, people, but the Doof still in the lead. Somebody fix that, please.
Somebody wants to pay money to name it Swaddle, I will love you forever.
Looking at you, chat. Looking at you.
So, safety revive here, although it's not as much of a safety strat as it looks. Because we actually need, we will almost certainly need to use a revive in Tantalizer. Which is a while away, admittedly. But given that we are doing a marathon run, and that revive is a whole 3 tiles out of the way, we'll have that. For a nice bit of safety. The other thing we got there was Soft Sand, which I'm going to equip now. This boosts ground type moves by 10%, which is going to make a heap of difference for a lot of ranges in the mid game, because we are going to, when we hit this level up, coming up here, we are going to get Mudshot, because we'll evolve to Marshtomp. And Mudshot is very powerful, especially for where you get it in the game. Level 16 and you get a 60 base power move with Stab. And then the 10% boost from Soft Sand as well. It's very, very good. The only downside, it's just a little niggle, that it's 95% accurate. Not 100. And 99% of the time, if you're using a Mudshot, you really, really, really want the thing that you're using it on to die. So missing them is generally death. That Carvana can be a troll. It has 4 moves, but Bite does nearly 20 damage. And can flinch if he outspeeds. And with Focus Energy can crit fairly often. It's not a great move. But yeah, Marshtomp here. We have what is probably the worst fight in the run. Is Rival 2 the worst? I always wonder this. I can't remember if it's Rival 2 or Tate and Liza. Rival 2's up there. It's one of the worst fights in the run. That's in a few fights' time. This was the main reason why we chose to play as the girl. So the male rival is going to lead with Slugma, which has Ember and Yawn. Yawn takes some time because it puts you to sleep. Ember doesn't really do anything other than burn, which there's a full heal right before them. There is no cool Trainer Brook in Emerald. I will point her out as we go past. But we literally just go past. Ooh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so male rival leads with a Slugma. It can't really do much other than waste time. Female rival leads with a Wingull, or a Whalmer, can't remember. It's a water type. And it has Growl, and we need to set up 2 X attacks at 4 Grovar. And an X speed, so you've got to spend at least 3 turns on it. So if you get Growl, your run's like over. Yeah, the Sapphire route, the new Sapphire route, makes Cool Trainer Brook completely free, which is a very neat addition. Exclamation point, new route. Yeah, this is a very recent development. Gunnermaniac was the primary driver behind it. They now manip an Abra to teleport about. And being able to get strength and being high level for CTB means that it just doesn't matter anymore. And it does some neat movement where it bikes from Morville to Rustborough. No, is that right? Does it do... I think it does Meteor Falls to Petalburg for Norman. I don't know, can't remember. I'm not a Sapphire runner.
How different are the 2 runs between this and Sapphire and Ruby? I'm assuming that's a huge difference, is it not? I've never actually played Emerald. I put tons of hours into the other 2 games, but...
The speedrun is significantly different. There's like a whole extra area. Like Magma Hideout is... Magma Hideout is not a thing in Ruby and Sapphire, which we'll visit here. We're forced to visit here in Emerald. If I get second Growl here, then I have to 2-hit the minimum, and this takes forever. And yeah, just a lot of the fights are very different, and you end up arriving at a lot of the fights at different levels. Like, I think Sapphire... Oh, that's great, I got double Growl. Please crit. I think Sapphire now does Winona as Swampert, but it used to do it as Marshtomp, which sounds awful. Whereas we're like 38 at that point. We're very well into Swampert levels. Yeah, Rayquaza makes the endgame laughably easy compared to Kyogre. Sapphire's just rougher all around. It's like much harder to finish a run in that game. And there's also less like biking content, which you might if you're not familiar with Pokemon runs, you might initially stick your nose up at why would we want, you know, movement in a Pokemon speedrun. But Max Bike in Gen 3 is ridiculously fun and very high, has a fairly high execution ceiling because at max speed it runs at, it takes 4 frames to cover a tile, and a lot of the map bike movement has to be tile perfect. So you have to be pretty good. Yeah, Mac Bike is, I think, the main draw for these games, to be honest, from an execution standpoint. Especially Emerald. Because Emerald's not too rough battle-wise. Oops. There's a full heal there. Not supposed to stand on it to pick it up, though. I didn't save. This'll be an issue. Please don't die. I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of recovery if I die here. This could be quite bad. Please, my friend, be kind to me. These embers aren't great.
Now, were you supposed to save right before the fight?
Oh, yes. Do I risk this? No, it's just time loss. Better to potion. If I get Yawn here, then I will just sit through it. It doesn't make any difference. Yeah, that's whatever. No point to risk that here. I don't want to bop Slugma here, because then I'll just fall asleep on Grover, which is terrible. This is what I get for doing, like, run attempts before doing the marathon. Forgot that this was a thing, supposed to save.
It'll be fine, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's kind of out of my control whether it will or won't be. I have to hit 2 95% accurate moves on this Grover. And it has to not crit. Fingers crossed and pray, please. Please don't let me die. I have in mind what I need to do to recover this, but it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a whole thing.
Come on, chat, give us some positive vibes here.
Okay, we didn't get the crit. Just hit 2 moves. 1. I am absolutely cacking myself right now. Please hit. Okay. Right, just don't get crit by the Wingle. This is such a bad fight. to not save for. It's like such a mistake in a way. Just don't crit me. Yeah, okay, fine, we're good. We're alive. Thank God.
I'm loving this. This is beautiful. Pure chaos.
I'm not. My heart is in my goddamn mouth.
Beautiful. Well done.
Alright, for anybody that's looking back on this as a VOD to see what Emerald marathon runs should be like, save. Don't do that. That was bad. Okay, you are favoured to survive that fight, I guess. But dying is... It's a whole lot of recovery. You'd go all the way back to Petalburg and you'd be down an X speed, 2 X attacks, and a host of money. But we lived, don't worry about it. Easy, just win. So... Alright. I need to remember to save for Flannery, because I'm gonna forget. Kind Emerald runners lurking in the chat, please remind me to save. Oh dear. Anyway, so we've got past probably the gatekeeper to the mid game. There's not much that's gonna murder us from here until the Flannery Norman section. I'll pick this elixir up here because we have to walk past it anyway. And the PP items are very useful. Thanks, old man. We're going to visit the Rock Smash dude. People refer to him as the Rock Smash guy, but he finds it sort of degrading. Damon, shut up. That's recoverable anyway. I've got to revive. That's fine. That will just be a content move. And we're going to pick up literally the best item in the game. In the Mac Bike. This really is where the fun begins.
what exactly is the difference between the two bikes? Because I remember there being two, and I remember one of them not being so good, really.
So Acrobike, you can do bunny hops and wheelies on, which allows you to cross over certain obstacles.
Okay.
But it travels, I think, at the same speed that the Fire Red Leaf Green bike does. So it takes 6 frames to cover a tile, which is pretty reasonable to control consistently. Mac bike, just go fast, lots of fast.
That's what we want.
Yes. There's no benefit to any of the areas that Acrobike unlocks, especially even compounded with the amount of just overall time save Mac bike will have, because you're traveling literally 1.5 times as fast. And there are certain areas in the game that you can only get to with the Mac bike. I think there's like mudslide sections that you have to be at full speed to bike up that the Acrobike can't do. Although again, not very useful for the speedrun. But yeah, with how fast this moves, we have to be good. Especially, there's going to be some sections coming up where we're going to be biking past optional trainers. And if your movement is off by a tile, you'll hit them. And it's a lot of time loss. And certain ones will kill you as well. So... yeah, it's the easiest way to explain it, but it's not the most intuitive way. But we have to think about a lot of movement in this run in terms of how many frames it takes to cover a tile because of spinners. And because we basically need to get past them within 32 frames of resetting their spin count. So the map bike is also like ridiculously overpowered for that. Because you can effectively, if you can find a way to reset a spinner's spin count up to 3 tiles away, then you can just Mac bike right past them, because you'll do the first tile of the Mac bike, because it accelerates fairly slowly. The first tile takes 16 frames, the second takes 8, and then the third onwards takes 4. So covering 3 tiles takes, oh maths, 28? Yeah, 28 frames. So you have potential to do like long range spin manips, like from a distance. This guy has a Ziggy, and to anybody else this is an ordinary Ziggy. To speedruns, this guy sucks. 55% to die to this mudshot. Cool. If it doesn't, every move it has is terrible. No, headbutt's okay. You don't really want the damage, but headbutt's whatever. Growl will then cost you another turn on Gulpin. Sand Attack is Sand Attack. Potentially costs you infinite turns. What's the other one it has? Is that it? I feel like it has another move, but I can't remember what it is. What's his other move? Maybe it doesn't, maybe it only has 3. Yeah, that fight is... Well, the weird thing about that fight is it's either 2 turns, and it's fine. Like 55% or 50% of the time, because you can also miss Mudshot, and that's really terrible. 50% of the time, it's just fine. You don't worry about it. And then 50% of the time, it's like 4 turns at least. And potentially more. And then like the Gulpin has Sludge, which can poison. And it has Yawn, so if you miss the next turn, you're asleep. There's just a lot that can spiral out of control on that fight. Considering that I just bopped it in 2 turns and off I went. So, X attack and X speed here are almost entirely for Magneton and Manectric. We actually technically don't need either. This Magneton has a bunch of terrible moves. Sonic Boom is a lot of damage. Supersonic is Supersonic. And then this Manectric, we can 2-hit it without the X attack, but then you have to sit through Citrus Berry text. So it's faster to X attack on the Voltorb and just one-shot it 15 out of 16 times. It is possible to min roll and it'll live. If anybody has any questions or if something I'm explaining doesn't make a ton of sense, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will answer if I see them. I will do my best.
I actually wanted to know, how much does X attack and X speed increase your stats by?
So they do it in stages. So at +1, it's 1.5 times, and then it basically adds another half times on every time. So stage 2 is double, stage 3 is 2.5 times, stage 4 is 3 times. So you get diminishing returns the more you set up, generally.
Right. So is it ever favorable for you to use it more than once?
Oh yeah, we will.
Okay.
There'll be opportunities coming up where we use a lot. Right, that was a run to bike on that hiker who was a spinner. I ran to a tile so that it forced him to look right, and then jumped on the bike as quickly as possible. These are both spinners, and we just have to wait for them both to turn around. There's no way to manip both of them, unfortunately. Man, this guy's being rude. Thank you. This guy, we actually unload and then bike back on, and because we're biking at full speed, we can get past him before he loads and has time to spin. After you say no to the wally fight, yeah, he just says, oh please, and then you have to say yes anyway at some point. He just blocks the door until you beat him. Oh, that's a shame. That was almost perfect movement. So this section is kind of rough for movement. This is the first section where you really need to practice a bunch and make sure that your movement's on point, because a lot of those sections there, had I been off by 1 tile, I would have thought an optional or maybe 2.
Are all of your encounters, well, obviously they're planned, but I mean, do you ever need to stop and grind at some point in the
No.
run?
Oop.
That's beautiful.
The only time we'd ever need to do that is if I died. And like, or no, if I died in something like like Taylor or Abra bopped something else and took the experience, but that's nearly impossible. Right, so we're gonna pick up the god item, number 3. We've had 3 so far. So there's a protein here, which in the optimal sense, it's not worth to pick up, because it doesn't technically save more than 2 seconds, and it takes like 15 to get and use. However, it makes so many ranges much more favourable that it's just ridiculously favourable to pick this up for a marathon run. We're gonna remove a bajillion ranges and not have to worry about a lot of Pokemon just because of that one item. Yeah, actually Thunder's correct. There is one, that level 4 Lotad that I spoke about way back at the start of the run. That is the only time we might kill a wild for experience.
And then I don't know if you answered this, but Quo was asking in chat, what controller are you using to play the game? Because I can hear it, but I don't know what it is.
It is a GameCube controller, standard GameCube.
Very nice.
I think it's specifically a Smash Ultimate one. No, it's Smash 4 actually.
Smash 4, that's right.
Yeah. Of course I do that, Thunder. I do that in every run. I'm not worried about that particular bit of movement. I don't mind it. Just be good, lol. So, you may have thought that I just repelled right before the grass. The timing of that repel was actually fairly specific, as much as it can be with protein. I want the repel to wear off about here. Specifically there, but I can't get that with protein. Because if I repel here, we're going to get a very nice repel wear off later if my movement is good. Big if.
Does repel wear off faster if you're biking, or it just counts the number of tiles that you pass by?
Yeah, it's just a number of tiles every time. Obviously, if you're biking, you're going to rip through the tiles faster.
Right.
But yeah, it's always a set number of tiles. So the reason we're coming into Rustove Tunnel from this side is that there's a hiker at the entrance of the right-hand side that you can't avoid. If you want to get strength going from the right side, you have to fight that hiker in the first place. So we're going to come down the left side here, pick up strength, and then we're going to exit the same side. Just so that we can then teleport back to Morville. Also, that's why I repelled where I did. it wears off there, and I can use another one in this menu. So we can combine the menus. But yeah, anyway, we're going to use Abra here basically to skip a trainer, rather than fighting the hiker. So that protein ups our attack, which just helps with so many ranges. Yeah, sorry Damon, that was a bit close. I've not rolled in front of them before though. But I do have the timing down pretty well. Yet, anyway. Now we went to the right side when we first came into Moreville and fought the youngster above this trainer. But we didn't fight this lady because she has lots of grass types. And while we can bop the Roselias with Mudshot, it can miss. We also can't consistently bop the Shroomish with anything at that point. And to be honest, even at this point, strength is not ideal because it has effect spore. So 10% of the time I'm going to get a status here. And we avoided it this time at least. Worth mentioning, you may have seen when I did any soft resets for the Manips that my game has a dry battery. That's actually, well, it's not intentional, I guess. It's just a product of me owning this game for nearly 20 years. But it's actually intentional for speedrunners to use that because we stop getting random phone calls throughout the run. Which obviously saves a bit of time. There are scripted ones that we will get. We'll always get the Wally call that we got just before Falabor. We'll always get a call from your rival just after Seafloor Cavern to tell you that he's seen a big green Pokemon above Pacific Lock. Why they do that, I don't know. And I think the only other one is the Roxanne call. Once you beat Brawly, there's a certain number of steps to take, and then Roxanne will ring you and add you to the Pokédex. Oh yeah, and Dad Norman on the boat. Dad Norman on the boat.
So just a quick question, how are the phone calls linked to the battery being dry?
So the battery that the carts have in them is to constantly tick a real-time clock over, even when the game's not being played. So you can set the time in this game, and then that battery will constantly tick a seconds counter, so that the game constantly knows how many hours have passed since you last played. So
right.
If you've planted berries, they'll grow, and other things like that. I can't think of anything else that it actually applies to, but there's definitely some other stuff. But obviously the battery isn't going to last, so after a while the battery dies, and then it says you've got a dry battery, and I think the specific phrasing is clock-based events will no longer occur. I don't exactly know why that ties into random phone calls, I won't lie. It doesn't really seem like it would require a constantly ticking clock to randomly give you a phone call.
Right.
But it does.
So does that also mean that you can't grow berries once your clocks run out? Huh.
I can't grow berries on this cart without replacing the battery.
Right.
Which is a shame, because the berries were a really fun aspect of Gen 3.
They were, yeah.
But replacing the batteries is actually not too difficult. There's fairly good guides online. You can get like pre-done ones that you just solder in once, and they work. That makes sense, Ism. That's an excellent point. That might be the exact reason.
I also remember them, if I'm not mistaken, you get calls on specific days as well.
That might be Gen 2, I'm not entirely sure though. I don't remember. So I've swapped the bird to front here for Maxi 1. And there are a multitude of reasons why. Maxi 1 leads with a Mightyena as Intimidate. So sending the bird out first basically absorbs that Intimidate. It also has Sand Attack, which we don't like. So I'm going to set up a guard spec, but I'm going to use the bird's one turn before it dies to set that guard spec up. So Tailo does double the work here, really, in a single turn. absorbs and intimidate, lets me set up guard spec, and then gets out of the way so it doesn't steal any of the experience. Again, I thought that was Gen 2 Thunder, I won't lie. But you might be right, I don't know. That bite's a shame. That one's a terrible shame, please don't flinch. Don't crit me! Okay, we outsped. Still don't crit me. I might die. Okay, I wouldn't have died. Scary though. So specifically Mudshot turn 1 so I can outspeed turn 2. We've had a few scary fights already, although the Rival 2 one was entirely my own doing. Save for Flannery, thank you. Remind me again in like a minute, because I'll already forget. Nice little bonus here, we can water gun camera up because we're in Torrent. So it's only to use 95% accurate Mudshot. Torrent question mark? Torrent is Mudkip's ability, or Marshtomp's in this case, that when you are below, or well, at or below 1/3 of your max health, water type moves are 1.5 times as effective, or do 1.5 times as much damage. So there are certain scenarios where we want Torrent. Oops, wrong menu. Yeah, this is where like the risk reward of Pokemon speedruns kicks in, because Torrent obviously is useful because we do a lot more damage, but it does require being at low health, which is scary.
I'll just shout this out real quickly. Dayman has donated $20 with no message, but thank you very much for that, Dayman. Much appreciated.
Imagine not putting that towards the Rayquaza name. Oh, the disappointment. Right, we did it, chat. We saved. Good job.
We're still sitting in first place at $49.
I have a feeling I'm going to have a Rayquaza called Bidoof. I don't think I can avoid this. Yes, dude. Alright, Flannery sucks. Despite being fire type, despite being what you'd think is like the ideal type to go against, Flannery is up there for the hardest gym leader fight. It's one of the 5 hardest fights in the run, I think. So it's definitely up there anyway. Mostly because of the Torkoal. We want to hit the Torkoal, which we need an X attack for, which we'll set up against the Slugma because it has the least amount of bad moves. Smog's not too bad if I don't get poison, that's quite nice. Light Screen tends to be the best. If it uses Sunny Day, that's terrible, because then it gives a lot more power to Torkoal's Overheat. If we didn't pick up the Protein, this Camerupt would be a 15 in 16 range with this Mudshot. With Protein, it's just guaranteed, as long as you hit. And then this Torkoal has Attract, which sucks, Body Slam, which can paralyze, which sucks, and Overheat, which alone does about 40 damage, and in the sun does 60. We'd really just like Sunny Day. No, that's not great. And now have to get through Attraction. Wow, easy. Okay. I'll take that. That's a very good Flannery fight. That is generally where it can start spiraling out of control, is as soon as you see Attract, because then Immobilized in Love, and then it can like Body Slam Para, or it can set up Sunny Day, so the Overheat does like 60 damage, and then you're Body Slam, one Body Slam away from death. There's just a lot of ways that fight can go wrong. And there's no other real, like, feasible way of getting through that fight quickly. We could one-shot the Torkoal, but it requires setting up 4 X attacks rather than 1. So you'd save a turn on the Torkoal, but lose 2 more. Or you'd lose 3 setting up the extra X items. And you'd be setting it up on Slugma, which would use Smog, which gets not very effective text, or Light Screen, which has extra text, or Sunny Day, which has extra text. So there's no real good way of doing that fight any quicker than that. Oh. Okay, that looked a bit silly. Was not supposed to bonk into that sign. So we're going to take a quick detour here for this candy. Rare candies are extremely useful in this run. And that's really it. We then just teleport straight back to Morville. So we've beaten Roxanne, Flannery and Watson. We can't beat Norman until we beat Brawley. So we have to nip back to Dewford first to just bop Brawley. And then we can go fight Norman, who also sucks. Now this might look like, you know, kind of a whack detour. We have to go all the way south from Morville to catch Bryony's boat. And then take Bryony's boat again to Petalburg. But the thing it will allow us to do is teleport straight back to Morville after Norman, which saves just a bunch of surfing and awful movement between Petalburg and Morville.
I'm just going to take a moment here to go over some of the bid wars that we've got going on. So Mario Kart Double Dash is going to be held by CJ. It's all good. The top two character choices will be winning here, and Diddy has skyrocketed into first place. So he's at $30, Toadette at $17, and Toad at $10. Baby Luigi, Baby Mario are still sitting at $0, but you guys can change that. For Super Metroid, this is nearing the end. We've got the classic kill the animals versus save the animals. Kill the animals sitting at 180 and save the animals at 105. And then we've still got, this is for this current run right now, so nickname Rayquaza, Bidoof still in the first place with $49. Please someone change that.
Also change the characters used for that Double Dash run. Where is my boy King Boo?
I highly agree with this.
Toadette as well, what a terrible choice. I'm very disappointed.
Listen, I didn't want to say it, but I agree.
Yeah, 102 Brawl is like pretty fine. For what is effectively a no reset marathon run. Fairly content with that. The Norman split sucks. Everything about this split is poopy doo-doos. Nothing ever goes well, and Norman hates you. So, strap in. Odds are the first safety save that I'll actually have to like use is going to be in this split. There's just a lot that can go wrong here. Nice. So we have 3 gym fights that we're required to do before we get to Norman. We're going to take the left path on each. The first one's a Swallow. Generally not too bad, especially at full health, but it does outspeed, so you are going to take a whack of damage. I actually don't mind a single crit here, because it will put me into really good health for Spinder, who is the second Pokemon. Yeah, this is like a weird point in the run where our like power leveling hasn't really caught up. We're pretty much even levels with a lot of the Pokemon here, all very close. So we tend to struggle, and we have nothing that's really that useful against normal types either. And they tend to be a bit bulky. So we're not going to one-shot anything without a lot of setup.
So does that ever put you in danger, or it's really just slower fights?
Oh, no, there's lots of danger. So, oh, that's quite a low roll. Please don't confuse me. Okay. Alright, so if I miss this mud shot, I'm dead. And I might miss the range as well. Okay, I didn't need... That was pretty good. There's a lot going on in that fight. That Spinder has Teeter Dance, Dizzy Punch, and Focus Punch. We ideally want to go in at about like that 23 health, because then it will force it to use Focus Punch, and we can just constantly cancel that. This girl, Jodie sucks. This is like the only non-significant fight that I'm going to save for, like in terms of like not a gym leader or an Elite Four member or whatever. This is just a random bog standard trainer that we need to save for, because this Zangoose outputs damage like nothing. It has Slash, which gets Stab, and it has Swords Dance. And we are going to 2-hit it, potentially 3-hit it. Slash first turn is poo. So I'm now dead to a Slash crit. I'm gonna... Oh, that's a pretty easy range to hit though. I have to hit the mud shot. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Much nicer if it's Swords Dance for turn 1. Because then you just don't take the damage and I don't have to heal before Norman. You were wrong, Thunder. Not looking good for... Oh, nice poking out. Not looking good for my Norman split though, because that means I'm probably going to die to Norman. Like... So immediate save again, because this fight sucks. So, the first 3 Pokemon aren't too bad. But Norman will finish with a level 30 slacking or something. The thing is, bulky is all hell. And it has Facade, which does like 60 damage. And it has Counter, so using physical moves is terrible. And it has Yawn. Really, the only good move it has is Feint Attack. So we actually want to set up 3 X attacks and an X speed here. We're going to do it on the Spinder, who has Teeter Dance. You normally see it. If you can avoid it, it's really good, but it can only really Teeter Dance or Facade. Right Path is easier fights, but slower. You definitely can do Right Path, but it is slower. You 2-hit everything on the left path. Uh-oh. And sometimes you can get Teeter Dance locked like this. I only have 4 full heals, effectively. So if there's going to be a weird situation if I get down to... If I use all my heal powders and I only have a full heal, I'm actually going to risk it. Okay, never mind. We're good. And that might sound a bit insane, like we're going to risk it, but it's actually a better thing to just risk the 50-50 and hit Spinder, because you can just heal it off on Vigoroth if you live. Whereas if you use your last full heal and you still get Teeter Dance, you're going to have Confusion for the rest of the fight, which means trying to survive another 3 Pokemon with Confusion, which is much, much worse. Vigoroth down. I need to be at full health before we're going into... Well, not full health, but I need to be at 64... Well, 65 or above, ideally. Although we'll take 63, 64 if we get it. Belly Drum is excellent. And now it's the slacking. So I'm going to use Rock... Well, I'm going to use potentially different moves, but Rock Smash turn 1 for certain. And hopefully we get the drop, and hopefully we don't crit. That is a high roll. We got the drop. That's great. You may counter here. Excellent. I won't die from that, but it'll be a lot of damage. I'm max rolled, whereas Wave Warrior when you need it. And then 2 strengths from here will kill, so this is the perfect fight. There's a lot that can go differently here though, because Rock Smash is only 50-50 to get the defense drop. If you don't get it turn 1, you Rock Smash again, and if you get it turn 2, you then just Mud Shot, and it will kill most of the time. With Protein, it'll always kill. If you Rock Smash turn 2 and still don't get the drop, you then have to heal to avoid dying to Facade, and then double Mud Shot. Also, instead of countering, it can use Yawn, which wastes a lot of time. Also, you do not want to use Mud Shot when it can counter, because you will just die. But yeah, that fight was okay. Honestly, that entire split was pretty good. Considering the amount that I hyped it up to be a killer, that wasn't too bad. I things chill out for a bit now, in terms of like danger. We can't really die for a while until like Tame Liza. No, that's a lie, until Maxi 2. Wow, okay, we're just gonna do that again, huh? So, Surf is now gonna be our, like, major damaging move from this point onwards. We haven't used much of Torrent, because realistically the only water type move we had access to was Water Gun, which is base 40, which is just not gonna output the same kind of damage as Mudshot. But now we have Surf, which is 95 base damage, with Stab. So it pretty much immediately switches to our main damaging move from here on out. And because of that, we are really going to want Torrent for as much of the rest of the run as we can get. So run to bite to dodge that spinner. And there's another spinner coming up. We're going to do some very strange movement. And it's difficult to explain why it works, but trust me, it works. You're just going to have to trust me. This is going to look bizarre. That guarantees a pass on that guy. And our regularly scheduled Roxanne call.
Is that call scripted based on how many tiles you've stepped on? Or?
Yes. Basically, as soon as you beat Brawly, it starts counting down. I don't know what the value is, to be fair. And that section was very scary, because that's like the first section of the run where you can literally step a tile wrong on the bike and you will hit an optional that will kill you. There's two trainers there, one has a Tropius, the other has a Broly, and you can't really beat them. You will just die if you hit them. I need to strength Carvanha's here to get Torrent for Shelly. How many do I need to strength? I think it's just 2. Yes, it is. I don't have these values memorised, I'll be honest. About the only thing I've had to check my notes for so far. So these would be a double fight if we walked into them, but we don't really want any of our spare Pokemon getting extra experience, because it will just take a while to sit through the level ups. So these ones are faster to take on individually. There's actually going to be... We're going to be given a cast form pretty much straight after the next few fights. And that's when we'll start taking double fights at the same time, because cast form's at level 25, so it does not level up very quickly with the extra experience. Also, it's going to be faster rather than walking down and below the tables to walk through them, so we're going to let this guy come to us a bit, just to open that path up. And then the third guy in the bottom left of your screen just a second ago, he's a spinner. But we have a pause minute for this guy if he's nice and doesn't spin prior to us getting to him. And then we have to fight Shelly, and Shelly has a Mightyena that in Torrent is a 14 and 16 range. So you can do 16 different damage rolls, 14 of them will kill. Thank you, dude. So by pausing, doing the specific movement I did there and pausing where I did, if he hadn't already spun, he wasn't going to spin again until after I was past him. It's just a byproduct of the way that spinners work. Strength again here for recoil damage. This will give me Torrent for Mightyena. I already had Torrent, but I wouldn't have held it through the level up. And then we'd like to hit this range, please, kind sir. Cool. So now we get Castle, and Castle's actually going to play far more of a role in this speedrun than you'd probably expect. Quite a lot from here until Tate and Liza hinges on this castle. Despite the fact that we're going to use it in maybe 4 or 5 fights. But they are fairly key fights. Rash would be terrible. Rash is an awful nature. What's a really good one? We have a plus special defense minus, or plus special defense or plus special attack. And then like minus defense, I think. That'd be a good one. Is that Rash? Maybe Rash is good. I don't know. I can't remember. Mild. No, mild's better. Yeah. Did I need to save here? No, I picked up protein. I didn't really need to save here. Oh well, nothing like a bit of extra safety. If we get triple burned, I'm saved. No, it doesn't hurt, okay? It's not the end of the world. But yeah, picking up the protein generally avoids this save, but whatever. This Thugma could burn me 3 times in a row, and then I would be dead.
How many Pokemon do you end up using across the whole run?
We pretty much...
Obviously, we're mostly on Mudkip and its evolutions, but I know you said Castform. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, so we'll use Rayquaza at the end for the end game. But otherwise, yeah, the Abra and the Tailor were just for fly and teleport.
Right.
So, no, but it's pretty much these 3, and Castform just gets used for double fights and 1 single Pokemon coming up. That we will explain when we get there. This Pelipper sucks. All Pelippers suck. This one specifically sucks. Always protects first turn. And it does not have to protect anymore. That's it. It can be done. It can be completely done with protects if it wants. It won't be. I mean, it's got Supersonic as well, which is not great. But you always get another one. It does not have to do that. Like, there's no reason, my dude. I've literally seen that Pelipper protect 4 times in a row. That Pelipper sucks. Sorry, I get very emotional about Pelippers. Just hate them. They're all the worst Pokemon in this run.
I love the passion.
Exactly, Damon. Pelippers just ruin everything. They just waste so much time with Protect. There's a save menu. So our final centre visit to set a teleport point that we're going to use once in a little bit. And then this is the second hard section of movement, is basically this bit straight after Fortree. So there's a lot of spinners to dodge here. There's a whole like section where if we're off by a tile we're going to eat an entire optional trainer, which just wastes a bunch of time. And it is broken up slightly by Stephen forcing us to fight this Kecleon. Watch this very interesting battle style. Intriguing, actually, I think is what he said. Yeah, your battle style is intriguing. Dude, I just ran away.
Wait, what? That works?
Yep.
Amazing.
So that spinner that I just biked past is the hardest one for me. It's not technically any harder than any other spinner. I just personally suck at that one for whatever reason, so I'm glad I'm past it. Very specific tile that we repel on there. That will line up quite nicely later if I'm good. Slight little detour across the pond here to pick up yet another rare candy. That's literally it. It's the only thing we come over here for. Then we have to dodge 3 more spinners. 2 of them twice. And before we had these spinner minutes, these 2 were the biggest run enders ever because of the fact that you want to pass them twice. And this is the biggest set of menus in the game as well. We combine with these guys. Thank you for not spinning. So I took Soft Sand off of Marsh Tomb because it's not really useful anymore. We're barely going to use Mudshot anymore. Took Mystic Water off the Castform and swapped Castform to second so that it's there for double fights. Took Fly to the Fly Slave. Shockwave to Castform. Repel. Double Candy Marsh Tomb so that we get Swampert. Sit through the evolution cutscene, and then I'm going to attach Mystic Water to it so that Surf does even more damage. Alright, and we're past probably the hardest section of the run, execution-wise. Well, the most punishing section. So no optionals so far, thank god. I am actually a decent Pokemon speedrunner, I promise. And we're going to head up to Mount Pyre. So the reason, I didn't actually explain it when I was there, but the reason why I biked to the right and I stepped one tile into Lily Cove and then left again is so that I unlock it on the fly menu later when I actually need to go there. I have no reason to be there right now. Getting on and off the bike there is to manipulate audio. Reduces audio lag when you go into Mount Pyre. Yeah, we want to set the Lily Cove fly location so that we can go back there later easily. Seems we're very, very close to it anyway. We've got some basic grunts to just blat through here. This next double fight is going to determine whether we've got a good Castform or not. There's going to be a Carvanha it's going to Shockwave, and if it bops it in one turn, it's a good Castform. Or it's looking like a good Castform. There's other things that change it, but potentially it could be good.
So you're saying you just let the Carvanha beat it up?
No, other way. It's gonna. I'm gonna use Shockwave on the right side, and Swampert's gonna bop this Poochyena, and then if the Castform bops Carvanha with a single Shockwave, it's got good special attack. Or it can crit, and that works too. That's also an option. You see, that's a good Castform. Good stuff. That's literally it as well. That's like the only time that having good special attack matters is hitting that Carvanha range. But yeah, from here, a great Castform is going to be dependent on its defenses, because depending on what HP and defenses it goes into Taint and Liza in, will affect what strats we can actually use.
While you're just beating these guys up, Tamar has donated $15, saying, "Won't someone please think of the children? Please, guys, think of the children."
Okay, I'm very lucky there. Well, not very lucky, but reasonably lucky to not get an encounter. And this is the last use for Abra, other than to just take a hit in the Taint and Liza fight later. So thank you, Abra, you've served us well. Because we're going to get access to Fly from beating Winona here. We have yet another double fight. And this one has a lot of variance in it. The ideal fight is the Doduo dies turn 1. And we hit Shockwave on Pelipper, and then the Pelipper dies turn 2, and we hit Shockwave with Swallow, and then we actually hit Swallow turn 3. However, Swallow has double team, so that can put a real fly in the omen. It also has Wing Attack, which does a lot of damage to Castform. It also has Endeavour, which does a lot of damage to Swampert, potentially. In the wrong situation. That's not too bad. That's actually pretty good health to get Endeavour turn 1. We're like fine with that on Marshtomp. Is if it keeps hitting Marshtomp, that kind of sucks. Crit the Pelipper is amazing. I've never seen it, by the way. Please crit the Pelipper. You suck. Double team, 1's not too bad because it means it's not doing any damage to anything else. And I didn't get Protect from the Pelipper, so that dies. Please hit the Surf. Wing attack. That kind of sucks. Castform's at full health though. I think this will be fine. Seems like 44 special defense. I didn't see its defense. 44's not great there. But it has 79 health. Actually, 44's good. I'm gonna heal. Sorry, I'm having to think. There's a lot of stuff that's dependent on Castform's health and stuff here, so I'm having to think on the fly. And I think I'm gonna heal Swampert here and try and keep Castform at full health. I probably wouldn't do this in a run because it would be slower than the ideal. But I think you saw 45 defense. Yeah, that's definitely the right choice then. I was presuming that defense wasn't going to be low enough. I don't think there's really a low enough value. No, there isn't. Actually, it's not a low enough value for it to survive, for it to not survive. With that good HP. So, this is the Pokemon we need Castform for. We can't reliably two-shot this Tropius, and this Tropius can very reliably two-shot Swampert. A crit is a one-shot. So we accept the death there. Oh no, Swampert died. Haha. We accept the death because we actually want Torrent for going into the next fight, and there's no real reliable way to get it, like, just by manipulating it in fights, so we just take the death. And you can use a rare candy on a dead Pokemon, did you know? And oh look, now it's alive. Potion up to High Torrent. Cheeky save. Yeah, that happens a lot. There's a lot of Pokemon runs that do that. It's weird how often it comes up. It's quite a nice thing. It's basically an intentional death there. There are ways of surviving that Tropius on good health, but 98% of the time you're just going to take the death and rare candy revive. Winona leads with a Swablu. Swablu has 2 very bad moves. 1's slow, 1 is ruinous, and 2 very good ones. It's actually far more likely to use the good ones. Well, not far more likely, but fairly more likely. Hey, that's one of the good ones. Just don't get Perish Songed, lol. And then you might think, how come we died to that last Tropius but Winona's got one? Winona's smart AI says, oh, Solar Beam kills here, so we'll use Solar Beam. Which is kind of an issue when I 2-hit it, so this Tropius just does not matter. Provided you don't die to Stomp. Like that Tropius is a non-issue. And then we're going to set up a bunch on this Pelipper because it always protects turn 1. However, it doesn't recognise that turn 1 has happened if you don't do anything. If you set up an item, it doesn't really click that turn 1 happened. So it keeps thinking it's turn 1 and keeps protecting until it actually gets the protect off. So we basically have infinite setup on that Pelipper for no cost.
Yeah, does this happen on any other Pokemon in the run, or is it just
basically just Pelipper? There's a Phoebe's Dusclops, the first Dusclops she leads with, has Protect as well, and I believe that has the same AI, but we just don't need to set up to the same extent on that.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's very strange. So, that was a good one in a fight, neat. Actually, a pretty good Winona split overall. Only losing like 3 seconds to my PB, despite saving. Cool. So we want to hold this torrent now until the end of Aqua Hideout, which is relatively easy, apart from one fight, which is quite difficult. I was also doing a lot of like mental management on what my Castform had HP wise, and I believe where am I going? I thought I was going to Slaypole. I believe my Castform has good enough special defense and HP if it's at full HP to do Strat 7. Doesn't mean a lot to anybody watching who doesn't know what Strat 7 is, but to the 2 Emerald runners in the chat, that will mean a bit. But basically there's, oh you suck. There's 7 different possible strats that we can do for Tate and Liza, dependent on Swampert's HP going into the fight, Castform's, a combination of Castform's HP and defense in relation to whether the Claydol will target it with Earthquake, and very occasionally the combination of Castform's HP and special defense as to whether Castform can tank a Psychic from Claydol. And I've actually got the fairly rare scenario where this Castform has mediocre special defense but ridiculously good HP and has taken no damage. So it is going to tank a Psychic from the Claydol, which allows me to do a weird but very fast Strat 7. No promises, Thunder, but I will do my best. Actually, it's impossible. You have to bonk against one of the trainers. So I can't do that even if I wanted to. In before he types out bonkless other than necessary bonks. There you go. Got him. So yeah, this is effectively a new section if you're used to Ruby Sapphire. This is the Magma Hideout, and apart from the Maxi fight, none of these fights are anything but trivial. The movement, however, is some of the hardest in the game, especially dodging these 2 runners here. That's like super not frame perfect at all. That's me talking about a bot, but that's like super tight on the movement. If you're late or you're off by a tile, you'll get caught by one of those optionals. Tile perfect, yeah. It's also timing perfect. If you talk to the trainer beforehand, if you take too long to talk to the trainer, you'll get caught by an optional anyway. My left ear is burning up.
Do you do this movement with the joystick on the GameCube controller or the D-pad?
The D-pad. Oh, nice. I bonked.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's I'm very much in the minority on that one, and not in terms of like anybody that uses the GameCube controller uses the D-pad. It's just that most people do not. Most people use the Game Boy Advance SP with a link cable, because that has generally a nicer D-pad. But I find that Mac bike movement is a lot nicer with the GameCube one. But I'm very much in the minority on that one. Thanks, Thunder. So Thunder and Damon are both Emerald runners as well, who do not share my opinions on the GameCube controller, unfortunately. Along with, in fact, I don't really know any Emerald runner that does. Like, the closest is Shiru, but he dual wields. He uses both a GameCube controller and an SP.
I was going to say, I don't know anybody who likes the D-pad on the GameCube controller in general. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh, Exarium. Yeah, Exarium might be right. I don't know. I actually never really known what he played with. But yeah, we're just ruffle stomping through most of these Pokemon. I have so much HP on this castle. This must be like max. Wanley only uses GameCube? Oh. Oh no, I've been lumped into the same group as Wanley. Oh no. Oh no. Castle's maximum HP at level 28 is 85. I'm definitely going to get at least 84 here. I think this is 31 IV Castle on the HP, which is really good for Strat 7. What's the rate, Tasselfoot? The GameCube D-pad is not as bad as people make it out to be. I'm literally doing all of this map biking on a GameCube D-pad. It is not that bad.
That legally makes you a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what? And we can't repeat the rest of that.
Whoa, Tasselfoot has just raided us with a party of 12. Thank you so much, Tassel.
So this fight is kind of rough. We're going to destroy the Mighty Enna and the Camerots, but the Crobat does not die. And it outspeeds us, and I'm at 30 HP. Air Cutter does not kill without a crit, but it has a high crit ratio. So if it Air Cutters, it's 1 in 8 to, it's 1 in 16 to kill me. No, 1 in 8 to kill me. I got there. His other move it can use is Wing Attack. Wing Attack does 20 something to 30 damage. So if it max rolls with Wing Attack, it kills me. Or if it crits, it kills me. So regardless of what move it chooses, this Crobat has a 1 in 8 chance to kill me. Watch this surf crit on Crobat, bro. If I finally get this crit in a marathon run, I'm going to lose my mind. I will donate $50 to rename Rayquaza Crobat in the middle of a cutscene if I crit this. Okay, we survived. We're fine now, as long as we don't die to that. Still have never crit the Crobat. So disappointing. must have like 30 runs past this split at this point, at least. I have never crit that Crobat. It saves so much time. Oh, well, this split was good otherwise. I think I had one bonk, so sorry Thunder, I did not get bonkless. I did my best. It's a long distance to bike out of this place, so the escape routes that we bought an hour ago finally come into use. We have to nip to Slateport for a mandatory cutscene. As if you haven't been following the plot at this point, Team Magma wants to make everywhere land, and they're going to do that by blowing up every possible volcano they can get hold of. And Team Aqua wants to make everywhere sea, so they're going to make it rain. And they need a submarine for that, apparently. So here's the submarine.
Geniuses, both of them.
My favourite bit in this is just after we beat Archie, Maxie's going to walk in and tell Archie off for being an idiot. It's like, bro, I've had to beat you 3 times to stop you from blowing up volcanoes. Like, this guy just wants to make it rain. Step off. We don't have a repel up, so it's possible to get an encounter here, although very unlikely. And Aqua Hideout has lots of trainers in it, but they're all like positioned. All the ones that were required to fight are positioned in double fights. And we have Torrent and Surf, which is mighty convenient. So this is another use of getting the free cast on, is that it's just going to absorb all this experience without really wasting any time on level ups. Did I shockwave or did I powder snow? I meant to shockwave. I may have mashed and powder snowed. That's a little dumb. Not the end of the world, it's just a bit slower than shockwaving.
Alright guys, Ashley has donated $30. No message. But it looks like it went towards Baby Mario in the Double Dash run, so that's going to be interesting. We've got Diddy Kong and Baby Mario are going to be the team so far, unless someone changes that. Toadette still sitting at $17 and Toad at $10. And remember guys, all of your donations go towards St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
And if anybody is looking to bop that Rayquaza named Bidoof, you've got about 20 minutes left, and we will have to cut it off.
Bidoof still sitting at $49. Mort at $1. So, you know, if you guys just donate $49 towards Mort, we could change that.
Or 50 to a good name.
We're counting on you people.
I'm gonna name a Rayquaza Bidoof. I hope I have two. I always get worried here that I don't have two serves. Mooba would be good one as well. I always get. There's like no reason to be worried because I shouldn't have used any extra serves. But I am like majorly screwed if I don't have two serves here. Name it A so that we can race PB. Let's go. Name it some odd symbol, like if there's tilde in there somewhere, that'd be good. I have to go and find it. Okay, we have two serfs, we're fine. So this is the... It's not the last point we need Torrent, but the Tantalizer fight we have to do some setup for. We do want Torrent in Tantalizer, but we have to set up before we actually get it. So we are going to have to heal here. Will you find it then? Hee hee hee. Thanks, Matt. Quick detail for this max elixir. We're effectively like centering to full in this next menu because we're gonna energy route to full health and then max elixir to full PP. That's an excellent shout. I'm personally a fan of Fenrir but how many? My personal favourite box name. M. Flory Leroux is pretty good too. What one do I not like? What's the second one? You do E, and then you do a load of garbage, and I hate that second one. For anybody that's wondering what on earth we're talking about in chat, there's the any % route will write code into box names, and you end up writing a lot of garbage into the box names that doesn't look like it makes any sense. That's what Thunder is suggesting I name. Thresh turn 1 is pretty good as long as it does not crit. I think. 91? I'm going to level up twice. Is that good enough? Or is that just going to miss good enough? I need very specific health here. I think that's good enough regardless. I think I should just play with this as if it's good enough. To do the fastest possible strat, I need to be at 96 health. 94 is like close enough that I'm just willing to risk it, because I'm going to safety save anyway. And the alternative is healing into really terrible health. Nice bonk. Now I could potentially safety buy some revives there, but they're actually no use. I'm not going to have any Pokemon. Get on the bike, please. I'm not going to have any Pokemon alive after the Tantalizer fight. So, this double fight, I can't bop both of them with Surf, so we have to strength one each. The Curlier has 3 nothing moves, as like Imprison, Calm Mind, and something else terrible. Then it has Psychic, and Psychic on either of my Pokemon would kind of suck. Not the end of the world if it's Castle. It may not be the end of the world if it's... Okay, we got Imprison, it's fine. It wouldn't, possibly wouldn't have been the end of the world if it was on Swampert as well. I think I could have recovered to good health. Yep, this Castle has max HP. This is the bulkiest Castle going. Let TNL get a revamped gym here. I really love the look of this gym compared to its Sapphire counterpart. I feel like the Sapphire one is just a visual mess, whereas this is quite... It's a little bit claustrophobic, but I kind of like that element.
Did they just change the look of the gym, or is it the entirely...
No, it's a completely different layout.
Ah, gotcha.
The Sapphire one is like a single room with loads and loads of spinny tiles in it. And bridges and stuff that go over other spinny tiles, and it's... To look at, it's really messy. I mean, the layout of this entire building doesn't really make any sense. Like, you're looking at there's just like solid walls everywhere, but from a gameplay perspective, it's quite fun. So I'm basically avoiding every trainer that I can here. Certain ones I'm forced to fight, like this one. Just reading through my notes to make sure I know what I'm doing strat-wise. The TNL fight is easily the hardest fight in the run, by a long way. Hardest one to survive. There's a lot going on, and it's 7 different possible strats depending on what HP you enter at, etc. I'm actually doing a bit of a weird one here, where I'm going to swap Abra to second. I also really want the Cladle's first Earthquake to low roll on Swampert. I want to be on 47 or better, 57 or better, after the first Earthquake, which is somewhat out of my control. So the reason we do what we do in this fight is that the game has... Is it Bird? Yeah. The TNL, the gym leaders, have smart AI. That's not good health. Oh dear. Can I potion this? Doesn't really matter. There's no point potioning because if Xatu targets Swampert, I'm screwed either which way. Can I recover this? I'm questioning whether I can recover this because I have a turn with Castle. I need to get lucky. I need Zatu to still attack. It's going to go. No, it might go for Castle. I don't know. What's going to happen here? That crit's interesting. Okay, it went for Castle. Because it died. Okay. Claydol might kill me? I don't know. Does Earthquake do more damage? Oh, I'm a genius. I'm unadulterated genius. So that's not how that fight's supposed to work, but we figured it. The crit on Zatu is slow, but it doesn't matter. It's actually going to make the rest of the fight safer, in a way. So the Zatu is normally a range. It does activate, so by critting it, obviously I missed the range, but it does activate Hyper Potion. However, it also means that I kill Zatu here, and the only Pokemon that comes out afterwards is Lunatone. Now, normally Lunatone comes out alongside Solrock, and it is a range. Like, Lunatone's a 15 and 16 range. Because we're targeting 2 Pokemon. Because I'm now only targeting the Lunatone, it dies. So that worked out really nicely. It could have been terrible, but it worked out really, really well. We will take that. I am going to have to potion in this split because my health is too low. One, two... No, I don't think so. The first one... Ooh, maybe. Yeah, maybe it is. I just have to I'll mudshot the Numel either which way. I like to mudshot the Numel in marathon runs anyway, in case I need that extra surf. But yeah, good shout. It may have been an extra one. Yeah, we still want to hold Torrent basically until we're done with Swampert, which is only 2 fights, I guess. Well, no, there's a load of grunts here that we don't care about that we just destroy easily. But in terms of significant fights, there's 2 left for Swampert, and that's what we call True Double, which is the one where you are with Steven and against Maxie and Tabitha, which is coming up at the end of Space Institute here. Whatever this is called, Space Station, can't remember. I think I mixed it up with Weather Institute. And then there's Archie at the end of C4 Cavern. We get lots of Intimidate here, so I'm normally going to surf through everything. I'm actually going to Mudshot the Numel because it'll still die, and because I want to try and save a surf for safety.
So when you say you're trying to save surf, like, is it because you're running out of PP?
Yeah, so we have exactly the number of surfs that we need for this endgame pretty much in most scenarios. But that Tate and Liza fight that I just did was a bit weird, and I may have used an extra one. So normally we go into TNL with 15 and we use 3 in TNL, 3 on this grunt that I've just beaten, which is 6, 1 on the second grunt here, which is 7, 4 on True Double, I think. Yeah, 4 on True Double, which is 11, and then 3 on Archie, which is 14. I feel like there's an extra one somewhere that I've forgotten, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, there's one on the Meditype before Tate and Liza, that's it. That's 15. And you have exactly 15 available. But that Numel that I just Mudshotted will die to Mudshot. You just don't generally want to use it because it can miss 5% of the time. But it's nicer for like this race route where it wouldn't really matter if I died because I'd just come back and take the fight again and get back to Torrent. If I somehow died, that Numel can like barely do any damage to you as well. I think the only thing it can actually kill you with is a high roll magnitude. But there's certain scenarios where you may end up needing, like very rarely you need an extra surf on True Double if it goes terribly. And then if your HP management also goes terribly, which is kind of out of your control, on True Duel, you may want to do Archie without Torrent, which will benefit from a load more serfs. There's a lot going on in this HP management wise.
I was about to say, yeah, it sounds like it.
So second to last safety save of the run, because this fight sucks. This fight, 80% of the time just goes fine, like no complaints, and then 20% of the time it's a pain. And my personal win rate is not very high, despite this fight not being as bad as I make it look. The first thing we're going to do is guard spec. That's to avoid Swagger and Scary Face that this lead Mightyena has, both of which are just terrible. Because we would really want to have Torrent for the entire fight if we can. Because you're just going to output far more damage. And it really likes to do the early Scary Face. Metang can be useful, Psychic on Camerupt is not useful, because we're just going to murder it with Surf in a turn anyway. Metal Claw on Mightyena would be good. Light Screen's terrible, no use out of that whatsoever. It also has Reflect, which wouldn't be the worst, but I'd prefer it if it just did damage. Mightyena's range, we missed it. I'd really like it, Metang to hit Mightyena now. The right side Mightyena, specifically. Oh, it's not going to do enough recoil, I don't think. Close. Okay, we didn't kill the Mightyena, but I do have Reflect up, which makes the Crobat and the Golbat far less scary. And it also locks Metang into attacking now, because it will not reflect or light screen again. Which is not too bad, and it will definitely Metal Claw here. Just don't Metal Claw that Camerupt. Please Metal Claw left side. It may go right because it would have killed the Mightyena. Yeah, that sucks. Oh well. So neither the Golbat's a range and the Crobat the right side is about to send out never dies to Surf. So Mightyena's going to do something useful here. Almost, well, basically certainly. It'll either put Crobat into kill range or it'll off the Golbat. Ooh, what's that health looking like? Because I think Golbat might kill me. Oh, crit it? Crobat, sorry. What's my health? 34? Okay, we're fine. So Wing Attack was a range to kill me. So there was a lot happening there. I had to kind of figure out whether it was worth the risk or not, but it was in the end. Wing Attack max roll was 34, so it was very unlikely to decide to Wing Attack me. Bit of a weird fight though, not the fastest at all. And then Stephen tells you that I don't live in Rustborough, I live here on this island, despite the fact that we have never seen Stephen in Rustborough, and he's never mentioned going to Rustborough. But he decides that you must think that he lives in Rustborough. We've in fact never seen this man anywhere near Rustborough. We've seen him in Duford and east of Morville.
Is he maybe positioned differently in the other versions?
Um,
And they probably just kept the same text. I'm just spitballing, but I'm assuming that might be one of them.
No, he appears in the same spots that he appears in Ruby Sapphire as well. I think he says the same thing in Ruby Sapphire. Yeah,
That's even worse.
The only thing I can think of is what Thunder said is that. Oh, oops. Yeah, Mr. Devon says that, can you deliver a letter to my son and his son Stephen? But yeah, it's a bit of a weird link. Like, Doesn't really make the most sense. You're a grown man. Why would I think you live with your dad? And we lots of getting on and off the bike here, because we don't want to travel short distances on the bike because of its slow acceleration. Okay, slight hesitation, but whatever. Basically any distance that's 4 tiles or more we want to bike, but then if we're pushing boulders or we're travelling anything that's like 3 or less, we're generally going to want to run it. And if we're about to enter an entrance like that, we also don't want to change the audio because it will invoke audio lag. So if we're already running, we're going to continue running. If we're already on the bike, we'll probably continue biking. Similarly, we get on and off the bike there to avoid audio lag and from cancelling the surf music as we enter that entrance. And I ran that section before this room because it's really, really difficult on the bike, and I don't know how to do it well. that's about it. And it barely loses any time to run it anyway, because you have to jump off your bike at the end to manip the audio again.
Now, when you say you're reducing like audio lag, does that mean that the music slows down the game, or is it?
Yeah, so as you go into an entrance where it's going to load new music, it will fade that music in, or more specifically fade the existing music out and then fade the new music in. So if you've just changed the music, like in that other room where I just come off the surf, so it was fading the surf music out. If I just went straight into the entrance, it would finish fading the entrance music out, the surf music, sorry. Then fade in whatever music it was going to come into, and then load the room. So you sit there on a black screen for a while waiting for the room to load. Whereas if I jump on and off the bike, I like skip the fade, I just immediately get the room music again. And then I can enter the next room and it will start fading in that music immediately. Now we have to set up a speed and a special here on this Crobat. Interesting bite. It has air cutter, which can crit. Thank you for that demonstration. Calculated, okay. Its max roll on that crit is 50. I knew what I was doing. Ah, okay. Very glad I did not die right at the end. So we quote-unquote shouldn't die to the rest of the run there. This hopefully should be a deathless run. No promises. But we don't have any more fights to do until we get Big Boy Ray. So do you want to cut off the donation incentive on that one?
Sounds good. Let me just check. No, yeah, it's still at $49. Bidoof is the winner.
Bidoof Ray. Is it all caps? Do we have any preference?
Let me just check here real quick. Just the capital B.
Very posh.
Quite proper.
So yeah, we're now into the cutscene split. The split is like 13 minutes long, and we're going to do maybe 3 sections of execution. However, 2 of those sections are literally the hardest pieces of execution in the run. One of them's quite easy. Brendan rings us up to let us know he's seen a green Pokemon. Oh my god. And then we don't actually have to go to Pacific Log right now, but it makes more sense seeing as we're halfway there that we finish the journey and then fly back, and then we can just fly there later. Easy dodge on those double spinners. Swimmers, sorry. Move that skate rope down so that I have to scroll for it later. Find out of the way of that lady's field of view. If I didn't go that far down, she could catch me if she looked down. Surfing to that specific tile that I went to then basically puts me in Pacific Log so I can fly there later. I don't have to jump onto the ground or anything. Yeah, that escape route down is definitely faster, Damon, if you weren't aware. It's it just saves scrolling twice, basically. You might as well just do the scroll there while you're at the escape rope. There's a few different places you can actually do it. You can do it after True Double as well, although it's a little weirder there. Then we see a very clearly outmatched Groudon. He's built himself a tiny island to fight this guy. I'm so glad that they force you to just sit through this entire walk. Why Steven can't just be sat in front of this dude so that we can just go straight here, I'll never know.
It's build up, it's the suspense.
Oh yeah. And Wallace asks us where Rayquaza is, even though we've never seen Rayquaza and we have no idea where it is. Thankfully I have played this game once before, so I know it's at Skypillar. And then we get to do the easy version of Skypillar. So the first time you visit to wake Rayquaza up, there's no obstacles, you can just go through the rooms. Or you can surf in front of that double fight if you only have one Pokemon, it won't activate. Which is true for all double fights in this run. Although I think that's only one of two that we go in front of. Yeah, we're going to do this Skypillar twice, and the second time we have to do it, there's a lot more junk in the way. It's the hardest piece of biking in the run. Thankfully it's not that punishing, like you only lose time to bonks or possibly falling to the next floor, at worst. So while it is like the single bit of hardest execution, you generally don't lose too much time to it. As opposed to like the Winona split where if you're off with your biking you can hit an optional. And at top level that just kills your run. And then we're going to see a cutscene, and the cutscene is not the interesting part from the speedrun, but the bit at the end is, because this may be the only speed game in the world that has cutscene RNG. So the amount of time that this cutscene takes is random, because there's rain and sun effects playing when you enter, and they take a random amount of time to cycle between. So when you get to the end of this cutscene and Rayquaza's cleared the rain away, which will always be rain for some reason, when it's cleared the rain away, that rain cycle will take a random amount of time to finish, which means that the cutscene can finish instantly, or it can take another 10 seconds to finish, and you have no control over it. So quite often you can just lose a bunch of time here.
That sounds so weird. You'd think it would be the same thing every single time.
Yep. People have, it's bad enough that people have looked into manipulating it. But manipulating it requires being frame perfect for like 20 minutes of the run or something silly.
Yeah, but 10 seconds is pretty huge though. That's kind of...
Oh yeah.
Great.
Let's see what we get. So the cutscene can finish any point from now. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Oh no.
And then we have the single hardest section of execution. I'm going to do the hardest bit of biking into like the scariest RNG minute. So I'm probably going to be fairly quiet for the next bit. Yeah, that's one of the worst ones I've seen. That particular cutscene RNG was quite bad. Nice bonk. Not the worst. I've definitely seen worse. I've seen other people get worse as well, but that was pretty bad.
And otherwise, is it sometimes just instant? Like as soon as
you
fade, it cuts. Wow. Okay.
Literally, I wasn't kidding when I said it can end at any point from now. That was like 10 seconds before it was actually done.
Right. No, I was just staring at like the ocean. I guess it was for the longest time.
Okay, that wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. And then I will need silence for this bit, just because I've got to pay attention to the sounds. And this is where we get Bidoof. It's ever so slightly late on that first one. I don't think it will affect the window. So I have to literally sit here and wait for the RNG to tick around for 10 seconds before I can do the rest of this minute. It should be fine. I expect this to go in. Yeah, that should be fine. No way I'm late. Okay. So my only hope is that I didn't miss the stat window entirely, because I have no idea what happens after this. Right, Bidoof. Okay. 246. That's an amount I recognise, but I don't recognise what it is. Quiet. Ugh. This is the worst one. Get on the mic. So. Yes, you can time that so that the catch is certain. It's only a 4-frame window, though. Meaning that there's only 4 possible frames that you can press A on that will actually catch.
Does that work for any Pokemon, or Rayquaza specifically?
It will work for any Pokemon that's like stationary like that. All the legendaries in the same, but you have to adjust the timing for any different Pokemon. Like if you could do it with Groudon in the post game. But you would have to adjust all the timings, because things like the Groudon cutscene before you actually encounter, like when you talk to it, it plays like a little cutscene before you actually get into the encounter, so you'd have to adjust it based on that. But yes, for all intents and purposes, every stationary Pokemon or gift Pokemon can be manipulated in the same way in this game.
Younger me would have killed for this information.
I mean, I can't understate the difficulty of a 4-frame window over 2 inputs. Like, It's not a very wide window. It's very, very easy to miss.
That's fair.
This looks so wrong that it's called Bidoof. I'm so used to seeing A. This is killing
Throwing
me.
me off.
I have the quiet as well, so I have to outrage. I don't even get to fly.
I'm assuming Rayquaza just tears through everything in the game from that.
Yes and no.
Oh.
I'm very, very unlikely to die, but there's certain Pokemon that kind of suck. Like, I'm not going to die to this fight, although I can lose a lot of time in the late game. In the later half of this fight, if I like hit myself in confusion a lot. Then Sydney's free. Phoebe's free, but again I can lose a little bit of time. Glacier's Wall Rain can potentially murder me, although it can't actually murder this particular Rayquaza. Other ones it could, but that's the only advantage the Quiet has, is that it will get a pretty quick Glacier fight. Drake is laughably free. And then Champion leads with a Wall Rain that has Blizzard. You will die to a Blizzard crit. You're also very, very likely dead to Blizzard Freeze, unless you can get another miss afterwards. Oh no, you're fine. Pair drops. I've got to be honest, if I'm paying attention to the game and I'm concentrating on execution, I'm just not looking at chat. So, you're totally fine. I'd just check the message later. But yeah, there's just not that many fights left. Realistically, like, Rayquaza does not have to do that many fights. But Swampert just gets... Swampert can deal with most of them, but Drake is just a nightmare. No real good way to deal with Drake with Swampert. And you might think, oh, get an Ice-type move. Ice Beam is in the Abandoned Ship, which is a 10-minute detour. Blizzard is in Lily Cove Department Store, which is a lot of money, and you have to fight Rival 4. And Rival 4 destroys Swampert.
So then Rayquaza is truly just the answer for
Yeah, pretty much.
the rest of the endgame. Yeah, okay.
So we teach it Aerial Ace because stab move with high PP and decent enough damage to take out most things. Waterfall because we don't have anything else left that we can teach Waterfall to. Swampert is literally an HM slave at this point. It only has HM moves. Basically gets relegated to the same leagues as Tailo and Abra, but worse, because it's 4 HM moves at this point. But Waterfall will actually help with PP management a little bit. There will be a few Pokemon that we will bot with Waterfall. Bidoof used Waterfall.
I hate it.
Oh, there is a Wally fight as well. There's absolutely nothing in here that's of any worry or concern. Actually, there's like 4 Victory Road fights, all of which we will just press the outrage button and win. Like, slap the win button. We are done.
Well then, I'll take this time to read a donation that's come in from... I won't read the full name, because yeah. Anyways, but Tara has donated $20. And their message is Breloom at Leftovers, EVs, 52 HP, 252 attack, 204 speed, Adamant Nature, Spore, Focus Punch, Leech Seed, and Substitute.
You don't need anything else. Like, that's it, you're done. You win Gen 3. Breloom in this gen, like, competitively was disgusting. Oh, but Amoeba, you can't use Dragon-type moves on a Fairy-type Pokemon. Haha. So yeah, I probably should mention for the Ray Minute, we minute both stats and nature, and the catch. So there's a window of 4 Rayquazas that we aim for. 3 of which are plus attack natures, and then there's this quiet, which is obviously plus special attack nature, but it has a ridiculously good attack anyway. This quiet is actually going to struggle a little bit compared to the other ones, but not very much. CC, that's I don't think you were supposed to read this.
I don't know if you fell for it out of Oh no. You hate to see it happen.
They victimize us.
I went out of my way not to say it.
Yeah, this movement kind of sucks because you can't really see anything, so you just have to inherently know where you're going. If we got one on the plus attack Rayquazas, I'd be able to aerial ace that Sand Slash, but quiet is not beefy enough. Oh, sorry, no. So the Rayquaza, there's 4 possible Rayquazas I can hit, of which they have natures Brave, Adamant, Quiet, Brave. This one is the Quiet Rayquaza. Sorry, I get into the habit of saying stuff that I expect my chat to normally know, and I kind of forgot I'm in a marathon. But yeah, this is the Quiet Natured Rayquaza, which means it's plus special attack minus speed. The minus speed makes no difference. Rayquaza's like so fast, it just outspeeds everything anyway. So yeah, I'm just referring to the specific Rayquaza that I got. Sorry, I could have actually explained that. That would have helped a little bit, but here we are. On the bike for audio minute. Do that running to minute that spinner that was in the bottom left. That's the last spinner of the run. So far, no optionals, no deaths, which is the bare minimum for a good marathon run, I'd say. Well, no, deaths are sometimes out of your control. But yeah, this is going pretty well. I think I'm on pace for like a 2:35, which is a pretty reasonable marathon time. Didn't I give a 3-hour estimate? Just as a heads up to the organisers. Fairly sure I gave a 3-hour estimate. I'm going to bop that by a good 20 minutes, as a heads up.
That's alright. You'll cut into CJ's practice time for the next run.
And the final Pelipper gets me. Hate Pelippers. No double, eh? No, I mean, you can just get trolled, like... You know, if I died 3 times to Flannery, which is perfectly possible, I died to a rival 2, and Norman, and Jody, and it all just starts adding up. 3 hours is...
the amount of time that you were going to die before
I did not see that the rappel wore off there, oops. 3 hours is probably a little bit conservative. 250 is probably a decent enough estimate that you're never really going to go above that. But I like to be safe where I can. So, deposit the slaves, because there's kind of nowhere we're going to die here that isn't just a reset anyway, because the only place we can die is on the champion. Yeah, I think I normally do Damon. I don't know why I gave 3 hours for this one, I won't lie. And yeah, if we die in champion though, we just have to go back to the save. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, Sydney, free. especially for the quiet. We're just going to waterfall 2 Pokemon. Aerial Ace the third and then press the win button. To the point where I don't even remember what the Pokemon are. We don't care. Everything just dies here. The Absol's the only thing that occasionally doesn't die on the Adamant and the second Brave. It's a range. Yeah. Most of the time it just gets out of here. Phoebe's kind of the same, except the lead Dusclops has Protect, which it will always use first turn when we get attack, and it will always then use again first turn when we use Fly. So the only thing we really want to dodge in that fight is the second turn Protect. Because if it gets that off as well, then I have to Aerial Ace, and I'm down 2 Aerial Aces, which actually doesn't really matter for the quiet, it's just time loss in the immediate sense. Can I get some sour pleases? Because this is a good thing.
It has an amazing soundtrack.
Bidoof's attack grows. Still, that seems weird. So that's the mandatory Protect. And we'd like to avoid the 1 in 3 Protect work here. Thank you. And I missed Fly. I forgot that was an option.
Oh no.
And then it Protect. Oh, this is so much PP loss. That doesn't matter, I don't think.
You refused Fly.
Does that matter? I don't think that matters. I've just wasted an extra 4 Aerial Ace PP. I don't think it matters. I might have to fly 1 extra Pokemon. No, because I have to fly something anyway in Champion. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's all good, chat. Everybody stop panicking. Everybody calm down. That's the worst Dusclops I've seen in a while. Fly missing to Protect. Gross. Alright, so the Quiet Rayquaza gets a really gross set of ranges coming up. 15, what is it? I have it in my notes somewhere. 14 and 16 on this Walrein. And then same again on the Altaria, and 15 and 16 on the Flygon coming up in Drake. And if I miss them, it generally sucks.
So when you say ranges, do you mean like chances to hit a monster, or what?
No, so a damage range, which is the chance of actually killing. So
right.
I'm gonna outrage this Walrein, and there's 16 possible damage rolls that I can do with outrage, and 14 of them will kill. And obviously not killing is kind of poo. Arcelio can Hail or Ice Ball. Ice Ball's faster in general. Although you may need to heal the damage before Champion, but it's still faster than seeing through all this Hail text. Actually, I think my Aerial Ace count's going to be fine, because I don't Aerial Ace an extra one here. I think if I do miss this range, I'm still fine. I don't know if I die to... If I die to Walrein, then that 3-hour estimate's going to start paying dividends, let me say. Because we've got 3 whole fights to do again. I'm fairly sure I don't, though. I think it has Ice Beam and it doesn't kill. Whee! Okay. Just hit the range, easy. Drake has a Shelgon that it leads with that is the only issue in this fight. It can use Rock Tomb. If it uses Rock Tomb and hits, you have to use an X speed to not get outsped by everything. And then it has another opportunity to use Rock Tomb, and if it hits again and you lowers your speed again, you kind of have a poo fight. But that's extremely unlikely because a lot of the time it's going to protect. Aren't you, little guy? Just going to protect. Thank you. Easy peasy. Don't double protect. Thank you. I don't know if that one can double protect. I feel like it only ever protects turn 1. For whatever reason, you randomly get a lot of lag in the menu straight after this element comes out. I have to take this menu very slowly, otherwise I end up selecting area links. We don't know why.
Oh, we just got a raid from Synth Iris. Party of 14, welcome everybody. Make yourselves at home. Open up your hearts, your wallets.
That is indeed crunchy.
The one and only. Hello, Bold. You guys are approaching the end of this run, so hold on to your seats, people.
This is the only scary fight in the entire Elite Four. We're definitely going to save here. The only one I can die to because of the lead Pokemon. So,
once again, I believe.
We really, really want to see this thing miss a blizzard. Merry Blizzmiss would be lovely. Because if it crits with blizzard, or if it freezes with blizzard, we're going to have a very bad time.
What are the chances of getting frozen in the game?
This blizzard's 10%. I don't think you ever have any other chance. I think it's only this blizzard that can ever freeze you. Oh no, I guess Walrein and Kingdra could get a chance if you miss Fly. Congrats on not getting frozen. I have to hit 2 flies on this and on Milotic. And then I have to do some more setup on the Gyarados.
Would that have killed without a crit?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's only we only fly because Aerial Ace doesn't kill. Because the Quiet has worse attack than the other two. Once again, gotta hit this fly. I am dead if I miss. Good. So we should survive now. It's really only the Wish Cache that controls. The Gara intimidates, which obviously kind of ruins the X attack that we set up. Most of the other Rayquazas will just X attack again and start blatting through with Aerial Ace. It's not really going to work on the Quiet, its attack is just not quite good enough. Oh, it is going to work because that's the only option we have. I forgot I don't have an X special. My notes are wrong here. So I have to hit 2 more flies. I was expecting to do the X special outrage strat, but I don't have an X special on this route anymore. I just have to hit 2 more flies and then we're good. Thankfully, the Gyarados can't really hurt us that much. And the Wish Cache just can't hurt us at all. Like, it barely does anything with Surf, and I don't think it has anything else.
Every time I see Bidoof flew up high, I just doubt what I'm reading.
It's in lowercase as well, which is throwing me off so much. It just looks wrong. That uncanny valley for a speedrun. Just hit lol. GG's. that is the end of this Pokemon Emerald speedrun. And it's going to be 24 minutes under estimate, which is not too bad. You're welcome, Damon.
Excellent run. It got scary a couple of times, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Not bad, to be fair. Overall, that's not a bad run. The best time I've had in a race is a 2:33, and I play races that's slightly more risky than in marathons. I really can't complain with this.
Riskier than not saving before a fight?
Yeah, okay, that was a mistake. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, this is the second best time I've had for this for a marathon run, I think. And I think the only other time I had that was better was a high 2:35, so we're really not that far away. It's a good representation of what the route can do. If you're interested in running this game, please give me or anybody else in the PSR Discord, the PSR Gen 1 to 3 Discord Emerald channel, a shout. There's lots of us willing to help people out. You've got two very good runners sat in the chat right now as well. And thank you very much to the Speed Docs folk for having me on. Thanks, Crunchy, for not leaving me here on my own.
The pleasure's all mine. This was awesome. This is actually a trip down memory lane. I mean, I never played Emerald specifically, but just seeing all these Pokemon again was really nice.
And time. I hope you're ready with the timer, because I forgot to remind you.
I know I have no control over this, I'll be honest with you.
Okay, I hope somebody was ready with it then.
We'll check the VOD.
Yeah, it was 2:36:26 by my timer.
There we go.
So, thank you very much. And make sure you all stick around. I think there's a snap run coming up. I don't know if it's a run or a race yet.
Oh, it is going to be a race, yeah, because the people made it happen. Yeah, it was initially supposed to be an any % run by Quo, but now it's turned into a Jinx % run, or race, I should say, between Quo and CJ.
Very nice. So you guys should stick around and watch that for sure.
Oh, you guys are going to want to see this. If anything, just to witness CJ's saltiness. It's going to be great.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I will let you guys transition out if you need to. I'm just going to sit here and look real pretty until you do. I love that it shows you all the Pokemon in the credits. It only has like 5 to pick from.
I love these end credits. Alrighty. Amoeba, unless you've got anything else to tell the people, we will be cutting over to an intermission.
Nope. Goodbye. Thank you for having me.
Alright. Thanks for the run. It was amazing.
Anytime.